Are you burned out yet? If you're trying to do advocacy by yourself or with just your group, then that's bound to happen. This is why, despite all the headaches and struggles they bring, coalitions are a key tool to achieve your policy goals. Now, coalitions basically fall into two groups: single leader and group led. A single leader coalition is one where there's a main organization that's spearheading, coordinating, and funding the advocacy work. Group led coalitions are more focused on building consensus amongst multiple groups and sharing the workload evenly. There are strengths and weaknesses to both, but in today's Better Advocacy in 10 Minutes or Less, we're going to focus on the single leader coalition. So, what is a single leader coalition? That's when one organization is in charge of leadership, funding, and administrative support. That coalition leader brings together the other orgs with similar goals to support their work towards a specific policy goal. So, how do you start one, and how do you make it effective? When you're starting a single leader coalition, first you want to look around and reach out to folks. So, you and your organization, your advocacy group, or whatever organized group of people you've got that have a passion they want to turn into policy, well, this is your start. Make sure you have that clear policy ask. End solitary confinement, stop coal fired power plants, give parents a stronger voice in education, reduce licensing requirements, whatever it might be. Then look around. Do some Google searches and reach out to advocacy groups and see if anyone is already working in this space. If there's not already a coalition, then start one. So now you're going to expand on that list you started with. You want to cast a broad net at this stage. What organizations have worked in this space in the past, not just currently? What organizations represent constituencies that are tangentially impacted or may have similar but not identical goals? Broad coalitions get legislators' attention. I had one pager come across my desk with all the coalition members listed on it, and it included Dominion Energy, the Sierra Club, some unions, and Americans for Prosperity. That got our attention, and we immediately assumed it was a great bill because of the wide-ranging support from traditional adversaries. Now, let's be honest. There may be some groups in your space that you just don't want to work with. Maybe there are severe policy or personality differences. That's fine. It's your coalition. You don't need everyone. Now, as you're talking with folks, you do want to identify willing partners, because not everyone will have the bandwidth to be part of your coalition, and not every organization that you think should be part of it will want to. Don't force this. Someone who feels guilted or pressured into a coalition is not going to be a good partner. But those folks that are genuinely interested will bring the energy and resources necessary to sustain your coalition. And once you have your core coalition, schedule a time to hold an open meeting. So, what's an open meeting? I'm glad you asked. Open meetings are your chance to bring everyone together and get the word out about your coalition so groups and individuals you missed can get connected with you. Pick a date and time that works for your main groups. If you're looking for more grassroots or individual involvement, think about when people aren't working and schedule it then. Conversely, if you're trying to bring in established orgs with staff, aim for a time of day during their work hours. Should it be virtual or in person? Virtual meetings are definitely easier, especially if you have folks that you're targeting from a wide geographic area. But in-person meetings really facilitate connections and networking. If at all possible, try to have an open meeting in person with a virtual component. Now, at this meeting, you'll present your policy idea and why your group is forming a coalition. You'll also want to give folks a chance to participate, provide feedback, and share stories so they know their voice is valuable. Now, once you know who is in your coalition, you want to determine your resources and set your strategy. These each deserve their own video, and we'll get them soon, and go hand in hand, so we'll just touch on them here. Your strategy is how you turn your passion into policy. And actually, there is a video about that. It's going to be right there, maybe, or over there. Now, how you implement that strategy will be limited by the resources you have available. While you can guide this planning, you'll want to do this in consultation with your coalition members so they have buy-in and are willing and committed to do the work needed. Make sure you're aware of your resources as you're setting strategy. You don't want to base your strategy on something that will require tactics that you don't have the resources to implement. For example, if your strategy is to apply constituent pressure on key legislators, but you have no presence in those districts, then due to your lack of resources, you'll need a different strategy. On the other hand, if your strategy is to provide well researched policy recommendations that can be presented in a way that appeals to the party in power, or better yet, both parties, and you have grad students, researchers, and policy drafters as part of your coalition, then you know you have the resources to set your strategy in place. A final part of the stage is determining how to make decisions. Disagreements will arise within the coalition, and there are bound to be negotiations with political power brokers as your policy asks progress through the legislative session. You want to make sure you have an efficient way to make decisions so that there are not fractures in your coalition at key moments. All right, next, you can have all the resources and the best strategy, but if you don't follow through, you're guaranteed to fail. So, you know what that means? You got to get to work. Divvy up that work. Make sure everyone understands their assignments. Set deadlines to get things done. Follow up and hold people accountable. In a coalition, it's easy for priorities to get lost. Your coalition members all have other projects and policy goals they're working on in addition to yours. You, as a coalition leader, need to make sure the work is being done. Celebrate any wins or even task completions with the whole team. When one group isn't following through with their commitments, find out why and see what you can do as a coalition leader to make sure the work is done and everyone feels included and is part of the team. You know, no one said this would be easy. Even the best coalitions can be hard work. But when you've created a coalition united to turn your passion into policy, you will see its worth as you progress further and further to those policy goals.